So Madden ratings are obviously a very highly debated, highly questioned thing every single year. And for good reason sometimes, because sometimes ratings just don't seem to be what we think they should be. And let's talk about it. I also thought a good way to kind of showcase these ratings versus the overall public opinion would be from Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog Fantasy, we can see kind of the court of public opinion, which is where these guys are drafted. So for example, Cooper Kupp is the #1 ranked receiver. His average draft position is 3.2. So basically, fantasy players think that Cooper Kupp is going to be the most productive receiver in 2022, kind of meaning they think he's going to be the best. And in terms of rating, that pretty much matches up. Cooper Kupp is the second highest rated receiver in the game at a 98 overall. I will also mention that ratings are kind of interesting because the way they calculate ratings is they add up all these different things and they come up with this one number based off their formula. But in that rating, certain things are weighted a lot more, like route running is a really highly weighted thing. Awareness, whatever awareness is really highly rated. So a guy with 99 awareness, his overall might jump up, maybe 3 or 4 overall to somebody with 80 awareness with all of the same attributes. So when we look at the top 10 here and we don't see Jamar Chase, who is unbelievable as a rookie, and we look at Jamar Chase and we scroll down, we're trying to find him, and finally we see him. He's like the 20th ranked receiver, where he was pretty much unbeatable, unguardable last year. But when you think about Jamar Chase as a player, based on his overall being a little bit lower, you can understand that it might be a bit lower because Jamar Chase isn't exactly a super polished receiver. He's not the best route runner in the league. But what Jamar Chase does really well doesn't really show up on a Madden rating, which is he's so good at creating separation at the top of the route. He's so great through contact, and the 84 catch and traffic seems a bit low for somebody who plays the way Jamar Chase does. So to me, it's like I think Jamar Chase is a lot better than an 87 overall, but some of these individual ratings I get in comparison to the rest of the league, and especially as a second-year player, like I understand it. I would push him up a little bit higher because I don't think a player he is better than should be a higher overall than he is, even if they might be a little bit of a better route runner. He does so many other things well, like DK Metcalf, for example, right? DK is not a polished route runner at all by any means, but he's so dominant because he's bigger, faster, stronger, can win down the field, and is great at the catch point. But that doesn't show up based on someone who's a little bit more well-rounded. But here on Underdog Fantasy, who I should mention is the sponsor of this video, Jamar Chase is the 5th average draft position of any player in the league. 3rd overall receiver, because we know Jamar Chase is going to produce, had a crazy rookie season, and is probably going to go off as a sophomore. So if everyone knows Jamar Chase was amazing last year, if everyone knows he's going to be great this year, why is his overall so low? Like, is Amari Cooper, who's a 90 overall in the game, the 66th average draft position on Underdog, like, is he really better than Jamar Chase? I don't know at this point. I should mention, by the way, Underdog, in my opinion, is the best way to play fantasy sports. They have a bunch of different tournaments you can enter, and when you use code Bengal, they'll deposit match whatever you put in up to $100. So if you put in $20, they'll give you $20 extra on top of that. You put in $100, they'll give you an extra $100 for free when you sign up using code Bengal. The draft is the best part of playing fantasy anyway, and with Underdog, it's perfect because you don't actually have to manage every single week. They'll do it for you. You get to do the best part, which is drafting, and then they'll take care of everything else. I've been having a lot of fun setting up those drafts, and also with the daily pick'em. I've been having so much fun taking the over-under, especially because baseball season's in the swing of things. Of course, when football season gets here, we're going to be doing a lot of football on the channel, and I really think this is the best way to play fantasy sports, so check it out. The link is down in the description, and use code Bengal, please. You'd be helping out the channel a great deal, and it's a ton of fun as well. I think it's also good to keep in mind that some of these ratings, like, they're not wrong. It's just the reason they're lower on the Underdog Fantasy is because of their quarterback situation. Or maybe in the case of DeAndre Hopkins, he's suspended for half the year, so people are not going to draft Nuke that high because he's not going to play a whole lot. So his average draft position is 74. But obviously, we all know DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best receivers in the league. Justin Jefferson's a 93. I mean, that feels about right. I feel like with overall, too, it's like a lot of these guys are going to change, go up or down, especially the younger guys are going to end up going up. Like Justin Jefferson being, what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th best receiver in the league. That makes sense to me. I like that Terry McLaurin's getting a lot of respect. Amari Cooper at a 90 feels a bit high. He's definitely really good, but a 90 feels a little bit high for Amari Cooper at this stage. I would say he's more of an 87 and Jamar Chase is more of a 90. But when you're arguing for like 1 or 2 overall points, like, oh, that guy is only an 89, he should be a 91. It's like, you're arguing over 2 overall points. It really doesn't change too much. But do I think Adam Thielen is better than DJ Moore or AJ Brown or Brandon Cooks or Jamar Chase at this point in his career? I really don't. So that's kind of a weird thing. Adam Thielen's still like really good for what he does, by the way. But Jamar Chase, I think we would all prefer over Adam Thielen. His average draft position is 67, and Jamar Chase, of course, as we talked about earlier, is 5. Robert Woods is really good. 86 seems a little bit high for him, but he is really good. I'm not really too mad about it. My guy Jalen Waddle at an 84. Here's my problem with that is I feel like they're holding the rest of his ratings down because he's so fast, his overall is naturally going to shoot up. But he's so good at all these different little things. Why is his overall so low? They made his awareness only a 76, and I bet that's bringing a lot of things down. He has 85 catching. I mean, he's got great hands. See, they boosted Jamar Chase's awareness to a 92, but Jalen Waddle, for whatever reason, has 76 awareness. Like, what determines awareness? It's always been so vague. We don't know what it does, and this little stat changes so much because he has 97 speed, 97 acceleration, and when you see his actual receivers attributes, like, they're going to be really, really good because he's a really good player. But, 82 spectacular catch, 86 catch in traffic. He's got a higher catch in traffic than Jamar Chase. And that is a really good element of Jalen Waddle's game that's super underrated because people think he's just a speed guy. But he's also a really great route runner. And to have 80 short route running, 80 medium, 81 deep for Jalen Waddle feels disrespectful. Let's check out Devontae Smith, a refined route runner. Let's see where he is because he's only an 83 overall, 86 short, 83 medium, 84 deep. Those are pretty good ratings. But again, it feels a little bit low for Devontae Smith, especially let's compare him to Amari Cooper, who has 93 awareness, by the way. But Amari Cooper, when you look at route running here, has 90 short, 91 medium, 90 deep. And for somebody that isn't actually as refined of a route runner as is common opinion, it's a little bit bizarre that he's rated so much higher than someone that is a really refined route runner already in Devontae Smith. Amari Cooper's good. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think he's one of the best, most polished, refined route runners in the league like a Devontae Adams or Stephon Diggs is. Stephon Diggs, for comparison, is a 95 overall, and he has 94 short, 95 medium, 92 deep route running. Very good route running. I mean, that's anytime you approach 90 plus, you're one of the best in the league. Okay, have they released quarterback yet? That's the big thing I'm curious about. Those are always really hotly contested, and they're not out yet. And of course, I get it. Anytime we're ranking guys, everyone's going to disagree because you're fans of different teams, which means you're going to be naturally more biased towards certain players over other players. You don't get to watch everybody, and you're naturally going to be, again, more in favor of the guy in your favorite team or the popular guy. It's a thing that happens, but these safety rankings are interesting to say the least. But you'll keep in mind that the difference in overall from the number 2 overall safety, Derwin James here, to the number 10 safety is only 3 overall. And it's only 2 overall from number 3 down to number 10. These guys are all very close. I think Justin Simmons should be higher. I think based on versatility, I would probably bump Derwin James up a little bit more. His real only issue is just staying healthy. Otherwise, he does everything really, really well at an elite level. Tyrann Mathieu, I really have no problem with being the number 1 overall guy, especially when it's 1 overall point. Tyrann is incredible. He's been doing it for a long time. Another versatile guy that does everything really, really well. And I bet when we take a look at awareness here in a second, I bet Tyrann Mathieu's awareness is going to be about as high as it goes. Yeah, 97 awareness for Tyrann Mathieu. I would bet that's going to be higher than anybody else by a lot. Micah Hyde is 96, and that's kind of their number that bumps you up. Say you're not the fastest guy in the world like Harrison Smith, right? Or Jesse Bates, who, I mean, he's pretty rangy over the top. But they bump up your awareness to bump up your overall where they see fit. But now the elephant in the room, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where is Minkah Fitzpatrick? He's an 89. His awareness is only a 90. Man coverage is an 80, which is pretty good. 85 pursuit, 88 zone coverage. You could argue maybe the zone coverage could be a little bit higher for sure. Antoine Winfield Jr. has 90, which I don't mind. He's one of the best zone guys in the league. Marcus Williams at only an 84. That's interesting. But he's got pretty much, one of the highest zone coverages on the game, which is really what's most important at free safety, I would say, in Madden. It is a little bit weird comparing free safeties and strong safeties, but overall, when you're comparing safeties, I do think Minkah Fitzpatrick is better than a Jordan Poyer, who I know was an all-pro All-Pro first team last year. Got to give Jordan Poyer some respect. That being said, I do think that I would probably prefer Minka. Jamal Adams, I think, is fairly rated. Very overly disrespected player. He's just not a deep safety. That's not his game. But as far as strong safeties, box players go, Jamal Adams is one of the best safeties in the league. I think this is a very fine rating. Justin Simmons, I think everyone's kind of rated a bit low, to be honest. And maybe they've just done that this year. I think Tyrann Mathieu, to me, feels like a 94, 95. But we're nitpicking at that point. Maybe a 96. I think Derwin James is 95, 96. I think Budda Baker's like a 94. I think the same about Kevin Byard. I think Justin Simmons is like a 94, 95, to be honest. Like Jesse Bates, I feel like is more like a 93, just in my head of what the overall should be. But it's all opinion. It's all subjective, right? Now, edge was also a very, very highly debated thing. Fred Warner, by the way, why are middle linebackers showing? I clicked edge rushers. So let's go ahead and take middle linebacker out of here. We might get to that in a minute. But everyone was up in arms about TJ Watt only being a 96. 96 is amazing. But you're saying, what's the difference between Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, who tied the record for sacks in a season? TJ Watt, incredible player, by the way. But here's the difference. When they calculate overall, the bigger, faster, stronger guy is probably going to get a few more bumps in the ratings. You're also comparing a defensive end in game to an outside linebacker. And yes, they're doing very similar things. A 3-4 outside linebacker versus a 4-3 defensive end. Now, TJ Watt probably would go up an overall or two if he just moved to defensive end based on the ratings formula, if I had to bet. But who is the bigger, faster, stronger guy? It's Myles Garrett, and he has 88 speed compared to 83. He has 91 acceleration compared to 89, and these are all great for TJ Watt. 96 strength for Myles Garrett versus 83 for TJ Watt. Naturally speaking, that's going to bump Myles Garrett up a little bit more. And there is such a high value to actually sacking the quarterback, but I want to show you guys pressures for a second, which in my opinion is a better indicator of how often that guy is getting to the quarterback or disrupting the play, which in my opinion is a better indicator of how disruptive they are as a pass rusher. It is incredibly important and highly valuable to actually finish the play, but there are a number of different variables as to why a pass rusher does not actually get the sack. Maybe somebody else gets a sack that they started when they collapsed the pocket. Somebody can come off the edge just unblocked, by the way, at times as well, whether it's a stunt, whether it's a twist, whether they're just unblocked off the edge, and they can get a sack for that, but maybe they didn't really cause that, and that's how a guy like Kyler Fackrell gets double-digit sacks. And it's not the end-all, be-all, right? But when you look at pressures, Max Crosby was the most disruptive edge rusher of anybody last year. Did have the most total snaps, but also had 101 total pressures. He was unbelievable. Myles Garrett was 78, was third highest in the league. And then you go down to TJ Watt, who's still an incredibly great player, did finish with 22 sacks, but on 62 pressures. So a lot of the time, he just had better opportunities to finish the play. Incredibly valuable, but maybe it shows why he's a slightly lower overall. And when we look at individual ratings here, Myles Garrett, 98 power moves to 91 finesse moves. TJ Watt, yeah, maybe he's not the strongest power rusher off the edge with the bull rush, only 85 power moves, which is still good, but he's got 96 finesse moves, which looks to be the highest rated finesse move in the game. You have Nick Bosa, obviously elite pass rusher. Khalil Mack isn't even in the 90s for any of those power or finesse moves, and he's still a beast. Von Miller isn't even near that high. Joey Bosa has 96. Obviously elite pass rusher, and no one else is even close to 96. So he's the highest rated finesse rusher in the entire game. So I don't really know how much TJ Watt's getting disrespected because he's an incredibly high overall, rated really, really well. It's just, in my opinion, Steelers fans being like, well, he's better than Myles Garrett. Why is he not a better or at least the same overall? And I kind of understand that argument from their perspective. And when we look at every single rating in the game that's been released so far, there's really not that many super, super, super elite guys. Like when we go up, let's use TJ Watt as kind of the line here, or maybe even like Stephon Diggs. So 95 plus in the game, you know, really, really the elite of the elite. We have 3 on this page. And we have 10 on this page. So there are 13 total players in the entire league that have a 95 rating or higher. It's just truly very difficult nowadays in Madden to get the elite of the elite rating. And I think at the end of the day, for me, the reason I don't really care about Madden ratings too much when it comes out is I understand it's not a ranking of who is better than who in the end of the game, right? It's really just a bunch of different ratings coming together to make the main overall. I don't really care who they think is better than who, right? I'm going to have my opinion. I think Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the league, and Nick Chubb is right there with him. I think Derrick Henry is close. Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is obviously right there. Like, Dalvin Cook is right there. Like, all these running backs are really, really good. But when you factor in, like, Christian McCaffrey, for example, this guy is so fast, athletic, agile, quick. He's a great route runner with great hands. All that goes into boost his overall. Whereas a guy like Nick Chubb that doesn't really offer you as much as a receiver, but should have super high ratings in, like, break tackle and trucking. He's got, let's see here. He's got 91 trucking. That's very good. Only 82 change of direction. He's not some athletic freak, twitchy. I mean, he is an athletic freak, actually, but not so much in the terms of, like, twitchiness, side to side. 92 ball carrier vision, 94 stiff arm, 87 juke move, only 74 spin move. Yeah, 98 break tackle. There it is. He's one of the most elite running backs at breaking tackles in the league. And when I look at these running back ratings, it's like within a few overall points, I pretty much get a lot of these. The only one that I'm really kind of weird on is Javonte Williams. I think Javonte Williams should be higher than he is. Like, when I see Javonte Williams versus, like, Zeke or Leonard Fournette, right? I mean, those are good running backs. But Javonte Williams, in my opinion, is right in that same range. And maybe they're rated a little bit too high. But at the rate that a guy like Javonte Williams breaks tackles, in my mind, he's like, you know, he's got 94 break tackle. I don't know. I mean, that's a really good rating for him. So, I don't know. Ratings are just, at the end of the day, they're just a number. Now, on Underdog Fantasy here, again, linked in the description. Please use code Bengal when you sign up. And, I mean, you can see the running back rankings. Javonte Williams seems to be maybe like the 12th running back on here. We have Jonathan Taylor, 1. McCaffrey, Eckler, who's obviously great as a receiver. That's going to boost his value. Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is actually pretty high. Aaron Jones, right in that same range, but you expect Aaron Jones to split carries more with A.J. Dillon versus DeAndre Swift, who's more of like the main back. I get that Jamal Williams probably going to see carries as well, but DeAndre Swift is just probably RB1 there. And I think the last one I want to check out, because it's just going to be particularly interesting, is Micah Parsons. He was unbelievable as a rookie last year, and he should be rated pretty high in the game. Fred Warner's 94. Bobby Wagner's a 91. Listen, Bobby Wagner's been a great linebacker for a long time. Bobby Wagner at a 91 is a little high. Higher rated than Darius Leonard, but it's by 1. Higher rated than Roquan Smith. Higher than Eric Hendricks. Micah Parsons is an 88. I think that's a fair rating. That's a really, really good rating. He was unbelievable last year. He's only going to get better. But 91 speed, 94 acceleration. He shouldn't be the best in tackle, 86 tackle, but he shouldn't be the best there. That doesn't mean bad, but not, you know, at the elite levels. He's not the most instinctive player in the world, but he's just been playing off the edge, and it's like, go get the quarterback, and he's doing it. So he should have high finesse moves, I would say, like legit high finesse moves. 84 seems a little low. Block shed at 73 seems about right. Remember, that's only in run D. 84 power move, or 84 finesse moves could go up a lot. Man coverage, honestly, in my opinion, should be a little bit higher. He's definitely a better man coverage defender than a zone coverage guy, in my opinion. So they're just really holding up his rating with just athletic traits at this point. Speed, change of direction. Only 74 change of direction, though. Maybe that's high for an outside linebacker. Micah Parsons overall could even go up. Only 84 finesse moves seems low, because he's just a legit, like, pass rush monster now off the edge. I'm also curious on Max Crosby. He was literally the most disruptive edge rusher last year, so I'm very curious to see what his actual power and finesse move combo is. 84 to 89. It could go up a little bit. It's not really that low, though, but it should be higher, honestly. I'm talking finesse moves into the 90s for sure. You know, maybe 92, 93. And then power moves feels about right. But that really could be higher on one of the most disruptive pass rushers last year for sure. But I guess let me know what you think about the ratings at the end of the day. It doesn't matter too much. Here's top 10 tight ends for catching. I saw this one and I was really thinking about it. Tyler Conklin inside the top 10. It is only just catching. Maybe Tyler Conklin's drop rate is super low. But I mean, what's the volume there? Like if he caught 20 passes on 20, or like we'll say 30 targets, 20 of them hit his hands, it's great. He caught every one, but it's like it's 20 tries. Whereas maybe Travis Kelce is getting, like 100 more targets a year. Just something to think about with these, because is he really one of the top 8 best hands in the league for tight ends? I don't know. Seems crazy, but yeah. Let me know what you think the worst rating is, worst overall, worst anything for Madden so far. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to go down in that description. Download Underdog Fantasy, sign up online, use code Bengal. You'll be supporting the channel a lot. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.